Hey everyone, welcome to Dead with My Friends podcast. I am Steve,
I'm Nick.
and this is episode 21. And on this episode, we will be covering the early 90s Australian horror, Body Melt. So, Nick, what's been up, man? You've been watching anything good, listening to anything good, doing anything fun?
Man, it's been pretty freaking quiet for me, man, to be honest with you. No, I haven't really been watching anything. I've been meaning to. I've been meaning to dip into my error flicks, but just for, time purposes and whatnot, the last thing that I watched was the movie that we were covering, man, Body Melt.
Okay. Yeah, I speaking of Error 444, I did pick up that Fatal Termination pre-order. I
Good.
got I got the B cover slip, the yellow slip. Yeah, I really just want to see what that movie is really all about because coming off of Action USA and all these crazy stunts, supposedly the word is, and the big selling point for me is that these are some of the most violent stunts ever performed on film.
Oh
Or not
yeah,
violent, but like most dangerous.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was initially what got me interested in it, and the little trailer that they had put together for it as well. The movie looks like a lot of fun, man. So exactly for the same reasons why you decided to pick it up, coming off of Action USA, I was like, yeah, no, I need more action in my life, and it's Hong Kong action. So
Yeah.
I guarantee you, dude, like they don't hold to the same safety standards that we do here
Yeah,
in
yeah, for
America.
sure.
Or I mean, at least back then, because I think that movie was probably in the '90s. It was released, I'd say. I think
Yeah, it
late
looks like
'80s,
early
early
90s.
'90s.
Yeah, it looks like early 90s, but
But I think tonight, since we're recording the episode, I'm not obligated to watch, the movie of discussion. So I'm gonna fucking definitely watch Red Spells and Centipede Horror.
you want to hold off on that and have me drive down and watch those with you because I really want to check them out.
Yeah, when you want to come down,
I'll fucking come down after the episode, maybe.
dude. Yeah, fucking come down. Seriously, that'd be
Fuck it.
fucking.
I'm off all week. I mean, I've got some things I got to get done, but I really want to see those two movies.
Yeah, dude, this is actually pretty fucking awesome. Yeah, bro. If you want to come down, man.
Yeah,
Seriously,
I'll
if you
just
want to
leave like
crash the
super.
night,
We'll see. I don't know if I really want to pack everything up. I rather just like leave super late and then like,
dude, with it.
yo, wait, come on. Can you even get down to you like with all the flooding? Is Palisades North still closed?
I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Because that's like the big uh deterror for me is if that's the
Well,
right word.
well, dude, shit, man. So when we had gotten back from VHS Fest, the fucking storm was crazy,
Dude, it
man.
was
Like there
so
was so
bad.
much flooding by me. I've never fucking seen that before. And it couldn't have been better timing for us to wrap up because I'd say probably 5 minutes after we got done recording. Not even. We were breaking things down barely. Boom, all the fucking power went off for
Yep.
probably like an hour, hour and a half, two
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. And the roads were shut down. So look, I'm not sure. I think it might be open. We'll have to check. But I will say, I hope you fucking do come down, dude, because that would be awesome. Because I'm definitely gonna be watching those tonight.
I want to watch it, man. I mean, I don't mind driving back late. I mean, I'm okay with getting home late. I could do the drive no problem as long as Palisades North is still open and Route 6. That's my main concern.
We'll have to fucking check after the episode, bro. We'll fucking GPS that shit.
It'd be easier for me to just drive. I know I'll sleep better personally. It's just too much to pack up. I'd rather just leave super late when you're ready. I'm not worried about falling asleep at the wheel, brother. I as an ex overnighter,
Has that ever
shit.
happened to you?
No.
Never?
Well,
Dude,
okay. Only because I was going on almost 30 hours of no sleep at the
Yeah.
time, and I started hallucinating while driving home. And that was coming from
Shit.
home from Ernie's one night after a 4th of July party.
Jeez. He doesn't live too far from you, does he? Like probably like 30 minutes?
25, 20, 30 minutes, yeah. But I started hallucinating on the way home.
Bro, I remember there was only one time that I almost fell asleep at the wheel, man, and I had just come off of 2 days of like really intense filming. And I had to make a drive really early in the morning. Like I had to be up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I mean, I woke up fine. And you know how you feel okay,
Yeah.
like when you first wake up and you're like, oh yeah, like I'm ready to fucking do this and power through. And I drove down to where I had to do, dropped off what I needed to drop off, and on the way home, bro, I just felt it just coming on, man. And I'm like blasting music, I'm like smacking myself in the
Mm-hmm.
face, but oh man, that was really rough. I was like, no, never again am I doing this. It was scary,
Yeah.
man. It's really
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if again, being an ex overnight, like a part of that has like made me a bit tougher with staying awake.
Yeah, of course. Like you conditioned your body now to like that
Yeah.
overnight schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of did that too with the schedule that I used to be working, but it was like a second shift schedule. It was only 3 to 11, but I was still, I
You were
mean,
still up for a
I was
while.
still
Yeah.
up for a while. Yeah, because like when people come home 5, 6 o'clock, they're probably awake till like 10, 11 o'clock. They have like their time to decompress. They wake up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work. It's like the opposite for us, man. We need that decompressed time as well. So when we get home at 11, or if you're doing overnights, you're probably like what, like 7 in the morning, probably get home at like 7, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I used to work 11 to 9, and I'd get,
Ooh, dang.
yeah, four days a week though. That was like the trade off.
So you probably
But
come home and you're like up for like 2 hours,
yeah, I would
three
sleep from
hours.
like 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. That was like my sleep schedule during the day. So
Dude,
way I could have a couple of hours to wake up before going to work.
that's such a rough schedule, man.
It is. It is.
Because I've
It's not for
had,
everyone.
no, it's not. Because I've had the option to do like a second or third shift. So third shift is
Is the
11 to,
overnight.
11 to 7. It's the overnights, yeah. And some people, man, I said it all the time, dude. It's a different breed of people, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a different
It'll
breed, but
age you quicker too. I'm telling you.
yeah, man, I've known a lot of fucking people who have done it, but not for me, man. So I'm glad we don't got to deal with that shit. But yes, let's move forward from this.
I got to see our dude Jeremy from Sick Bay. Watch them play straight penitentiary shit, man.
Straight penitentiary shit. All right, he's got to make a fucking shirt with that
Oh yeah, we'll try to collab with something.
sick bay. Link us up. We're gonna fucking
Yeah,
talk. We're gonna get fucking something going, dude.
yeah.
Because the straight out of the penitentiary shit,
Oh, he
fucking
loved it,
awesome.
man. He
Oh,
uses it now.
I want to meet him, dude. Yes. Well, I'm glad. I'm fucking glad that
Yeah, start coming out to more shows. We got more of them coming up at the Grange in Newburgh and
I'll be
Reason and
honest.
Ruckus and
I'll be
yeah, man.
honest, man. I so it's no surprise. So for those listening, Steven yet again is coming off of another fucking Hudson Valley show. I think this is probably the 20th episode or the 21st episode that Steven has yet again been off of a fucking show, and that's every single
Oh yeah, almost every single episode. I'm coming off the show. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fucking dope, man. But I'll be honest with you, dude. I forgot that you were going, so I was talking to you throughout the day. I had sent you something. I was waiting for you to reply on it, and then you were telling me about you were having a good time at the show and shit. And then I was like, shit. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing anything. I thought I had something going on. I was like, no, I'm not fucking doing anything. I was gonna drive up and surprise you,
Oh, that
but
would have been it would have been sick, but like some
you
of the
didn't stay
later
long.
bands,
Yeah,
no,
no, that was the thing. Well, I was gonna go, but then you started telling me, yeah, no, I'm staying for, this amount of time. And then I was like, oh, it's not gonna be worth it. But I was gonna come up and surprise you. I was gonna come
there's
and give you a bear hug in the fucking pit.
oh that would have been something. Um, there's a sick show that Andrew Geip, drummer of Servant of Sorrow, has booked for the Grange next month. So it's on a Saturday. You should try to make it out, even if you want to carpool to my house, and then will take my car because it's easier due to limited parking to pack in with people. So I think it's on August 26th. So if you have nothing going on that day, it's a Saturday. Come up to me and we'll go. It's a newer venue. The last show 2 weeks ago. It went off without a hitch. It was a fucking great time. So
Yeah, I saw the pictures, man. I saw so I think in actually no, man. I was gonna say in the last episode I might have like commented and say that I didn't see any fucking videos of you pitting, and you were like, nah, fuck it, I pit for myself, which is awesome. But this time, this show, I'm seeing a lot of pictures, man. Seeing you in the fucking pits, dude. So
yeah, I mean, you'll see me pop up, here and there. That's because like I pick my moments, man. I mean,
yeah.
you know, I ain't no heavy pitter, but there's just sometimes I gotta move, and I like to two step, and especially for friends, I want to show my support,
Yeah. Dude, there's
But
some people who go to these fucking shows, bro, and like they're not even watching the show. They're just in the fucking pit the whole time. Like
yeah, yeah,
crazy amounts of energy and
yeah,
shit. But
man.
but overall the show is sick.
Uh, so this most recent one, it was okay. Like, definitely just the locals killed it. Like I said, Sick Bay. Asuna, they're like a local post-hardcore band. I'm not the biggest post-hardcore guy, but those dudes really keep it professional and they keep it tight and they put on a good performance. And I appreciate like the effort that they put into their like performance, their stage setup, and
Yeah.
you could tell they're really trying to fucking go big with it and trying to make it. But before that, in Poughkeepsie, it's no surprise to encounter bums, crackheads. The smell of piss was high in the air. The needles were all over the alleyway where you wait.
Yeah,
And
needles rolling on the floor.
yeah,
Like the
there was
sound
this.
like the sound of fallen leaves in the fall crisp air.
Yeah. uh, there was this one crackhead who I guess was given Jeremy's girl and her friends some issues like before, and Jeremy told him to keep it moving. Now it started to downpour, so instead, we're all just chilling before the show, but we can't go in yet. So we go to where the bands load in, and because there's a roof there to stay dry. We're all just shooting the shit, and Jeremy and the rest of the dudes, they're just loading their equipment, doing sound checks, this and that. So I guess this crackhead comes back, and one of Jeremy's boys is like, "Ah, oh, fuck you, this guy again." Starts explaining to me like what happened, like what's the deal with this guy. So he comes up, and it's downpouring, dude, because this summer has literally, it's either been really humid or torrential downpours because we're Florida now.
Yeah, we have like that tropical weather.
Yeah, literally all summer long.
Full fucking
So
downpour, and then it'll be nice and shiny. Yeah.
yeah. So he wanted to get dry. Now I'm like, all right. After finding, hearing about the situation, he comes up. He's like, I just want to be dry. I was like, all right, man, you can come up here to stay dry, but understand this. You're going to fucking respect people's spaces. You understand me?
Rightfully
You're
so.
going to keep your fucking mouth shut and not bother anyone. And he's all fucked up, bro. I don't know how many beers this dude had or what he was on, but he's like, oh, Mr. Big Shot here, rock and roller. I'm a
To
rock
you?
and roller. Yeah. I'm a rock and roller. I can rock too. Let me into the function. I said, you need a ticket. And he's like, oh, I don't need no ticket. I'm a rock and roll. And he's like kind of like pointing at me like this. And his hand's getting a little too close. And who knows where the fuck them grubby hands have been.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, bud, I don't appreciate, I've already warned you to fucking keep out of people's space. Now you're starting to put your hands and you're pointing in my face. And I don't fucking appreciate it. So if you don't knock it the fuck off, we're going to have a problem, buddy. And I'm looking at my hands. So I've told you about like Rob Van Dam, how it used to be like pick a hand and whatever hand someone picked. Bah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was getting ready, dude. I had it loaded up. Well, word got to Jeremy that this dude was back. Jeremy comes out. He's like, I told you to get the fuck out of here. And you didn't listen. So I'm giving you the count of 5 to get the fuck out of here. And you know how there's like I'd say good 8 or 7 steps up to where the bands load in.
Yeah.
The guy's standing by the edge of the stairs, and he's just spewing his shit, right? And Jeremy's just had enough, and he starts counting to 5. He gets to 5, and he fucking straight donkey kicks this fucking dude down the stairs. Dude
No
drops.
shit.
He gets up, stumbles backwards again, and then just
Damn.
Jeremy's like, "Get the fuck out of here," and just sent him packing.
And the guy left?
Yeah, he was gone after that into the pouring rain.
Fuck yeah. Pouring rain he went.
Yep.
Shit.
Sent his ass packing, man. Listen, dude, the guy was warned multiple times.
Bro, you're bothering people.
Yeah.
I mean, look, man, you gave him the fucking warning too.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't respecting that. So
No.
you had to do what you had to do, or he had to do what he had to do, man. So fuck. I mean, you know, I'm glad, you know, nothing had to happen any further than that, that it was like a one and done type deal.
Yeah, it was a one and done. That was it.
Before we go on, speaking of the chance, I don't know if I ever mentioned it on the show. Did I ever tell you about the fight that I had seen at the chance? I don't know if I ever mentioned it on here.
No.
With,
I've seen some fucking fights, man, but yeah.
With the singer from Bless the Fall?
Nah.
No, I never did.
I have one from Confide with the dude from Confide though.
Wait, at the singer?
Yeah, Ross, I think his name was.
Yeah, Ross Kenyon.
Yo, played it real quick. Played it at the loft. Someone bum rushed the front and cracked him right in the face.
Were we at the same fucking show?
Nah, because we would have ran into each other. It was a million degrees though.
Dude, I saw Confide there at the loft one time. It might have been like the only time they played too. I don't know.
This was in 2011. This was after
I'd have to look at. I have a picture with them. So
the fucking one album with the mirror that when they first officially assigned a Tragic Hero
with the new drummer, when they had the new drummer who was singing, and they released the Postal Service cover.
No, this was after that. That was after that.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right, but go on. So somebody rushed the stage,
cracked him right in the face. Yeah.
What?
I mean, the dude that did it, he got pulled out and jumped. But like, I mean, that was just some of the few, but I've seen like straight up blood brawls between people in the pit.
Well, here, all right. I two things, and then we'll move on to talking about body melt, because whenever the chance comes up and the show stuffs come up, it like fucking jogs my memory. So one time when I was there, it was me and Brendan. We drove up to the chance because Bless the Fall was playing. There was like a couple of like bands similar to that who were playing. So we had went up to go check it out, and it was at the loft, and it was fucking pouring down rain, dude. So I don't really know what the fuck had transpired, but there was like a whole bunch of commotion that ended up happening. And then we look outside and there's even more commotion going on. And then Bo, the singer of Bless the Fall, was fucking fighting the security guards at the chance.
Really?
Yeah. So Brendan and I watched this whole fucking thing happen. But I'll be honest, man. Like, that fucking guy could hold his own.
Yeah.
The dudes, yes. Yeah. He wasn't holding back, bro. That dude could fight. And like,
it's so shocking because real quick, you just see like, you know, Bless the Fall and all that era of like the late 2000s crabcore bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, not all of them dudes look like they could get fucking wrecked any day.
Bro, but some of them, man, like you don't know, bro. They're like silent but deadly, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But Bo was giving it, man. And like the security at the chance and the loft, bro, like they're pretty big guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was one time. And then I had went up another time with Josh and like two other people, one of which he was like a pretty big mosher, right? So he was like in and out all night, no problem. I wish I could fucking remember what band had played, but our parents were like fucking telling us, they're like, no, you shouldn't go. It's supposed to snow. Turned out to be a blizzard while we were up there. No joke, a fucking blizzard. And I'm an hour away, right? With three other people. That's a big fucking responsibility for me as the driver.
Exactly, because we're all just teenagers at that time.
Yeah, I was
like you just got your license.
I was
in
probably
car,
like 17, 18 at the time. So pretty young. Some fucking band had come on, dude, and this kid got swallowed up in the fucking pit. And he ended up getting jumped. They fucking pulled him outside in the freezing fucking cold.
Was this I don't want to use names, But yeah, I know who it is.
yeah, you know who it was.
Yep. Yep.
So he got fucking jumped. So we had seen them fucking bringing his ass outside, and they were trying to wake him up. They're like smacking him and like fucking.
That was that when he got his, because he had like 2-inch tunnels at the time. Was that when he got him ripped?
A different time.
Different time. Okay.
Different time. Yeah, no, man. He was really deep into the fucking the moshing, dude.
Oh yeah, and well, he was also pretty jacked himself, and he had the fucking huge ass 2-inch fucking tunnels or plugs
Yeah.
with the fitted. You already knew what was good.
Yeah,
with
one of them
the
got ripped
champion
out.
shorts. Come on.
Yeah, one of them got
Paint the
ripped out in a
picture.
pit. Yeah, exactly, dude. He fit the fucking part. And I mean, dude, when you got a guy like fucking pitting, dude, like a lot of the time if they have plugs, one plug is still intact and then the other one's fucking ripped out.
Yeah.
Besides the point. So they're like throwing snow in his face, not like being disrespectful. They're like trying to fucking, the security's trying to like wake him up, smacking him, like I said. And he's responsive, but they're like worried that he has a concussion. So they call a fucking ambulance. And he's like, oh, they're with you, or you guys are with him. And like, yeah. So they're like, yeah, he's going to be at the hospital. What fucking hospital is that up in Poughkeepsie? Okay. So ambulance comes, takes him away, brings him to the fucking hospital, and then I had to drive over there, bro. And might I say again, it's a blizzard, literally. I'm fucking driving down these streets, and then like it turned out that I was like driving down one street that was a one way, and there was a car like flashing its lights and beeping at me, and I had no fucking idea. And we end up getting.
I'm sure this was before we all had GPSs on our phones too.
Yeah. So I had to like ask where, like, how do you get there again?
Yeah.
Go down, make this turn, make that, right? So I get to the hospital. He had a concussion, pretty fucking bad, dude. And I mean, I didn't know what to do. I'm with 2 other fucking people. It's getting really late. And I'm like, call your parents and just see what they say, Because like if I would have called my mom, or if you would have called your mom, she would have came, probably, right? His parents told him pretty much like, you're on your own. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me. I'm like,
damn.
I mean, at the time, like,
so now it's become your problem again.
I mean, yes. I mean, but let me ask you, dude, like, is it my responsibility because I drove him, or should he have been like, I mean, he wasn't even an adult, it's like looking back on it now, it's a weird situation, but looking at it at the time, I was just kind of like, this kid isn't my responsibility. All I did was give him a fucking ride. He went in the fucking pit, got himself jumped for some fucking reason, who knows? And this wasn't the first time he had gotten fucking jumped, might I add, either way.
I'm curious if it was some of the fam dudes that jumped him.
100%, dude. 100%.
I say no more.
Yeah. So
one of them was at the show.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he's best friends with Vinny of Asuna.
So
former fam member.
So not getting into it any more than this, but dude, I was probably there until like 4 in the fucking morning, and thankfully by the time I left, the roads were semi-plowed. I was able to get home safe, and yeah, I never took him to a show again. And then I was pretty choosy with who I decided to drive to shows to. My friends who didn't fucking instigate people or cause problems.
Yeah, no,
and that's the way that he was. He fucking instigated.
That.
He caused problems. He thought he was tougher than he was. But besides the point, yeah. So the Chance, a lot of memories. Can't say it enough.
I think we could do a whole episode on stories from the Chance and the Loft.
Yeah, I've seen a lot there, man. I've seen a lot, dude. A lot of good memories. I don't have any bad memories. Lots of good memories.
I think the last show booked there is October, and that's it.
Sucks. But besides the point, man, I think we fucking spent enough time on the sidebarring. So I say, let's get into the body horror from the land down under.
Body melt.
1993. Man.
There might be a glare, but I'm trying to hold
it's
my
a bit of a
vinegar
glare.
syndrome slip that is well out of print up to the camera.
Yeah, it's glaring like a motherfucker. But just take our word that it is fucking sick. It is probably one of my favorite slipcovers that Vinegar Syndrome has put out besides Demonoid. Or not Demonoid, my bad. Demon Wind. Demon Wind's my favorite.
You remember when I bought this?
Okay, this is what
Monster
I want.
Mania Con.
I do.
2018.
I do. one of the reasons why I'm so fucking excited to talk about this movie is because Body Melt is the first fucking Vinegar Syndrome movie I'd ever seen. Because of you, when you had bought it in 2018. We were at Monster Mania, fucking walking around. You were like, yo, I gotta fucking... This is kind of like where it started for me, in a sense, was like 2018. Like, I've always been collecting, but this is when I had gotten introduced to Vinegar Syndrome, dude, where I gotten introduced to, you know, slip covers and boutique label stuff. Like, you gave me the education, dude, then and there. So, I fucking love it, dude.
You're welcome, brother, man.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for showing me the way.
Because you, for a while, you were Mr. Hollywood, and I was like you had all the main ones, you know, that the go-tos that everyone knew about. But I was like, dude, you have to start paying attention to what these boutique labels are putting out, like, you know, the Severins, the Vinegar Syndromes, the Synapse, you know, Arrow.
Severin's always there. Vinegar Syndrome's always there. Diabolic DVD,
Yep.
they're always there. Diabolic's always got the sickest fucking selection of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, this was the first fucking Vinegar Syndrome movie I'd ever seen, because when we had come home from VHS Fest, you were like, we're cracking this fucking thing open. So, back in 2018, man, that's where it started.
Yeah.
So,
for me, my first Vinegar Syndrome was I had bought in Blood Beat a few months before that, and that was the first Vinegar Syndrome release I had ever watched. And I was just like, okay, if this is what this label's putting out, I want more of this. Because Blood Beat is that movie's a trip. The most unconventional Christmas horror
I've never seen it. I want to check it out. But yeah, man, once I started collecting, once I started getting into it, dude, it was just a fucking runaway train at that point. So Body Melt, dude, let's get into fucking talking about it.
Yeah. Do you want to do a plot breakdown?
I'm gonna read the write-up on the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray. So, Body Melt. Residents of the placid suburban cul-de-sac of Pebbles Court have started receiving unexpected samples of a new and experimental vitamin manufactured by a strange health spa named Vimuville. However, shortly after adding the mysterious green powder to their diets, users begin to experience strange and increasingly macabre visions, and worse, their bodies start to mutate and ooze and eventually melt. As visits from the coroner to the sleepy street become a nearly daily experience, Detective Sam Phillips becomes increasingly suspicious of the going-ons at Vimuville. But will he be able to uncover its diabolical motives before the whole of Australia is subject to body melt?
Pebbles Court. Welcome to Terra's new dead end.
The first phase is hallucinogenic. The second phase is glandular. The third phase is...
Body melt.
He was one healthy dude. Unnaturally healthy. Now, I'm talking new drugs here, right? I'm talking 90s, man. Cognition enhancers. Designed to take your mind into new intra-phenomenological dimensions.
In sleepy Pebbles Court, something deadly is happening. All mapped. Target number 1. One by one. Move family. They're dying. Now system and organ to be prepared. Cheryl and Brian ran positive pregnancy. Because nothing can prepare you for the horror.
Up until their birth, babies are the ultimate parasite.
The madness.
Something is wrong.
The fury.
What is this?
A new age of human potential has dawned. Body melt. Pray they don't don't visit your street.
Got any good drugs lately?
So as usual, Vinegar Syndrome has a great write-up. I think that that's the perfect way to sum up Body Melt. It goes on to say, writer-director Philip Brophy's notorious slime-filled cult classic Body Melt remains one of the last great Ozploitation films packed with gross-out gore effects, biting black comedy, and a throbbing techno-esque score. Vinegar Syndrome proudly presents Body Melt on Blu-ray for the very first time in North America in an all-new 2K restoration sourced from the original 16mm negative. So, sourced from the original negative, man. So it's gonna be the best.
Absolutely. That's always, whenever I'm starting to learn more and more, whenever it's sourced from the original negative, you're gonna have a great scan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's got a lot of good special features, commentary, behind the scenes stuff, behind the scenes featurette, stuff like that. So the interviews are from 2018, but they're very good. I would tell anybody to definitely check out the special features of this. This movie was released, I think Umbrella had a Blu-ray release of this in 2018.
Yeah, that makes sense because they're an Australian-based company.
So with that, Philip Brophy was talking about how they kind of went in and redid, some of the sound design and things like that for the film, because he said that it was a little bit more reserved and toned down in the original release of it. And then he was like, I still had everything I needed. So when the opportunity came, he went in and, kind of redid everything and enhanced it. So I guess it transfers over to the Vinegar Syndrome one, but yeah, man. I mean, it goes without saying. I love this fucking movie, dude. Written and directed by Philip Brophy, and he also did the music as well.
Oh my god! Don't even get me started on the score.
I love it.
This is the most kookiest shit.
It's
I've ever
awesome,
heard.
dude. It's like techno and fucking like rave style music.
Yeah.
Even in the menu, dude. It's just
Yeah. It's stuck in my head.
yeah, dude, it's awesome. But yeah, man, he took on a lot of roles making this fucking movie, dude.
Yeah, this is a fun one. A lot of cool slimy effects, like it's mentioned in the write-up, and it's just it's really out there. The dark humor does hit.
Dude, yeah, a lot of ooze, a lot of good practical effects. It's got really fucking funny dialogue. The movie's not meant to be taken serious at all.
Now, the Australian dialogue and like some of the terms used are really funny. Just a quick disclaimer, if you haven't heard in my voice, I've been fighting off a head cold, really bad one for the last week, and I still have a lingering cough and some mucus, so bear with me. I know Nick will work this out in post, so I'm not
Yeah.
coughing in y'all's ears as you're listening or watching.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny though, because like anytime you talk, you can hear a quiver in your voice because you're trying to hold back a cough.
Oh yeah. I'm just fucking having a total coughing fit as we're recording this.
Well, you know what, man? We'll take our time and I will fix this in post, dude. So the disclaimer is there.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So Body Melt opens up with this video commercial about this Vimuville, this health retreat and its products. Just trying to sell their product.
Yeah, promote the wellness facility.
Yeah.
How it'll be good for you. You should come here, whatnot.
Yeah, nice little fucking video commercial there. And then we transition and then starts the main theme for Body Melt that has been stuck in my head all weekend into some hot, sweaty sex.
Yeah, sweaty, gross sex.
Yeah, the woman from the commercial, our main spokesperson.
Yeah, her name's Sean.
So she's fucking her chemist coworker, Ryan. And it's just hot, sweaty. You got the fucking techno music. And she starts injecting him with this green substance that looks like the Regeneron from Reanimator, kind of.
Yeah, that's immediately what I thought about.
Me too. And it's I guess it's called A59.
Okay.
And she's then on the phone with someone. She's like, I just gave him enough doses to kill what 20 dogs or some shit.
Yeah, something
Right?
like that. She juiced them up big time.
Oh, big time. Because also some of the effects of this fucking drug is like the sexual pleasures and performances. It's like an enhancement.
You find out at some time in the movie that the drug was meant to be made as a cognitive enhancer, but it has a lot of really bad fucking side effects.
Essentially almost like a steroid, too. And so we then, after the hot, sweaty sex and the suspicious phone call that Shan makes to someone, we've got our chemist Ryan, who has accessed this floppy disk file, which gives a virtual reality, really fucking dated because this movie came out in 93, virtual reality tour of this town called Homesville, specifically this one court called Pebbles Court, where all of their test subjects or guinea pigs live that they're trying to give out these experimental vitamins and drugs to. So he starts taking names, addresses. It's pulling up files of like every family member, like who all lives in each house, like with a little description. And he takes down this one dude, Paul's address, because he's like their main target. So he writes down the address on his arm, and he, and then he's about to like take off. But before that, he burns his like security card to like swipe in and out with his identification.
Yeah, and it melts. I like the little foreshadowing.
Yep. Yeah. Ryan is on this track to Homesville in Melbourne, and he's going to try to let all the people know there what's going on. But he pulls over at a petrol station. Before he goes in, he's looking rough as fuck, right? And he like clearly the fucking doses are taking effect. So he pops a bunch of fucking of these vitamins of the Vimuville brand. Then he goes in and he asks the petrol station attendant for detergent of all things. So he goes over, he's tearing apart the section where the dish detergent is, and he grabs some and he tries to pay for it, and the attendant's just like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, get out of here, this and that.
Yeah, he thinks he's like a drug addict and a tweaker, and he like yells at him. He's like, go get some fucking sleep.
Yeah, he calls him a fucking pillhead and pill popper. He calls him a pill popper, and then he's like, can't you just fucking sleep it off? Real funny shit. So Ryan's like fucking pedal to the metal,
hauling ass,
squealing out of there because he's all fucked up, dude. He's like oozing out and shit, trying to fucking drink this detergent, pour it on his throat that's like starting to open up, and the cops are chasing him. So he ends up in Homesville right at the court, and he pulls out a tape recorder and he starts recording like what's happening. He's like, first phase hallucinogenics, second phase glandular, and then just cuts off.
And then it cuts to a tablet being dropped in the water, melting.
Yeah. And what's funny is he really, when he's like talking to the tape recorder, it really reminds me of like Kyle Reese explaining like what the T800s are and like their purpose and all that. I don't know. The mannerisms of how he was explaining it just brought me back to the first Terminator, when Kyle Reese is trying to break it down for Sarah Connor. So yeah, Ryan gets cut off when he's about to say the third phase, and he crashes into a van right in front of Paul's house. But as he does, we get this POV shot of something going through his body. And it comes out after he goes through the front window, and we just see these like crazy like fucking legs.
Yeah, coming out of his neck.
They come out of it. It looks so awesome. The effect is sick. It comes out of his neck and injects itself into his mouth and nose, but senses that the cops are coming over, so immediately retracts back into his body.
Yeah, no, that was a great scene, and it was a great way to open it. There's those two dudes who are outside. What are their fucking names?
So
Gino and Sal.
We're introduced in this scene. We're introduced to all of the people living in the neighborhood that are like the guinea pig test subjects. And like I said, the crash happened in front of the main target, Paul's home. And then we've got these two fucking Guido idiot fucking 18-year-olds Gino and Sal, and they're about to take off on a trip because I guess they're going to donate sperm.
It's worth mentioning though. So I just want to say, so this movie, I don't know if you were aware, but it was initially intended to be an anthology. Okay, 4 short stories, and it couldn't get picked up as an anthology. So the way that Philip Brophy decided to make it still happen was him and his co-writer were like, okay, instead of 4 different stories, we're going to make it 4 different families in here, and it'll all be subplotted, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
So,
no, you explaining that makes so much more sense
yeah,
because I didn't really watch the extras, but I had a feeling that each of the families, it was like an anthology segment.
yeah,
So,
exactly, because different things,
yeah,
very different things happen to all 4 of the different people. So one of the
or
4
4 of the
families,
different families.
4
we
of the
should say.
different 4 of the different families. So one of the families is the Noble family, and it's a husband and wife, and then a son and daughter, and then it's Gino and Sal who are friends, and then it is what's the other dude's name?
We've got Paul.
Paul.
He's he's just like, newly divorced,
Yeah.
living on his own.
5
then
mil
we've
in
got-
debt, it says, when they were going through his thing in the beginning. So he's alone. And then
we've
Cheryl
got
and Brian.
Yep, Cheryl and Brian, the younger couple with
Yeah.
that Cheryl's pregnant,
Yeah.
and they just moved into the neighborhood.
If you're trying to conduct an experiment, having 4 different families and all these different test subjects, it's perfect. Got a husband and a wife and 2 kids, and then a pregnant woman. So you can see like the effects of this drug working in many different ways and how it's going to affect all these different people. It's pretty fucking, it's smart storytelling. And that's something that I want to say about this movie is it's written very well.
Yeah, what's funny is we had talked on the phone briefly before recording, like I think like yesterday, and I was like, I don't want to get into it, but I just realized like how well written and how detailed the writing is in this movie.
Dude, it's super detailed, and
and it's real quick.
Yeah,
it's a nice change up from the last movie we talked about with an incohesive plot where the main plot point kind of went right over my head because of how fucking bad the writing is. So it's a nice change of pace, man, might I say.
Dude, you were like all ready to gloss over it, and I'm like, no, like this is actually very important for this. But dude, it's just the way, like, it's 4 different stories, man, and it's just interweaved perfectly. The payoff is fucking great in this, man. It's just I'm fucking hyped up talking about this, and it only gets better from here. So let's continue.
So yeah, after the detective and his partner kind of like assess the situation, the detective finds the tape recorder and starts listening back to it. And from there, we are now branching off into like the other families or people of the neighborhood. So we start off with Paul, who is at the airport. It looks like he's waiting for a flight or something. And he starts tripping balls. Remember, phase 1, hallucinogenics. So he's tripping, looking at all these other people. And, people are just looking at him like fucking drugs, man. Like, I think this one punk couple says, like, fucking drugs.
Yeah, where it's like you'd look at them and think the same fucking thing, but they're like looking at him and he's just like all tweaked out looking. Did you see the fucking guy sitting there and he was looking at the porno magazine?
Yeah.
Yep. I had a fucking comment on that. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Good humor.
And then it bounces to Gino and Sal, who are on the road trip for their sperm donating, which turns out like Gino pulls out a picture and it's of him and Shan. So he's like, yeah, we're going to go to this like resort place and we're going to get paid to fucking come, We
got a weekend filled with women and food at the wellness spa.
But along the way, something happens to their windscreen, as they call it in Australia. Not a windshield, a windscreen. And it's damaged and they've got a tarp over it. And they pull off to like some side house with like a garage and like a barn. They're lost too. So they ask this guy, Pud, like, hey, can you help us? We're lost. and they're in the Outback. And for those that don't know, I mean, obviously, you know, the chain restaurants Outback, but when people refer to the Outback, that's like the boonies of Australia. So we got this nasty looking dude, Pud, right? And then he calls out, he does like a whistle and calls out, we've got
Sweet.
Sweet, and we've got Bronto and Bab, who are these two inbred brothers. They look, does it not give you the vibes of Hills Have Eyes, like the whole family clan?
Dude, I wrote down
Just in the
that
Outback.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I wrote down that it gives that this scene and this family gives me Hills Have Eyes vibes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes.
Yeah, yeah,
But like Leatherface, like TCM3 vibes.
yeah.
Like, you know.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Except for we're in the Outback.
Yep.
And you know, they're explaining their issues, and you know, he's like, you're city folk, huh? Where are you coming from? They're like, yeah, we're from Homesville, Melbourne.
Melbourne.
And
where's that? One of the fucking guys said.
Yeah.
So he's never left.
yeah. So they're thinking they're gonna get their car worked on, and they're sat down by the daughter who's taking their order, and she starts fucking flirting with Sal. And you could tell like Sal don't get none, because he's all like hyped up, like, oh, look at this girl giving me attention. Meanwhile, she looks fucked.
Yeah, she looks fucked, dude. I mean, dude, he's pretty fucking desperate for it if he's if he's going for fucking her.
Oh yeah.
And then fucking Gino makes a comment to him, and he's like, watch that third leg. So he's like telling him like, don't think with your dick.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though he's straight up thinking with his dick. And then we bounce back to the airport again, and we've got Paul talking to some woman at a table. She's asking him if he's got a cigarette, and she's all fucked up, battered, and broken. And it turns out Paul's talking to no one. He's just fucking tripping balls. But she's going on like how she needs a place to stay, this, that, and the other. And he's just kind of going with it. From the airport, we end up at Paul's job, and it turns out he's like some big shot record producer.
Yeah.
And he's like fucking just asleep on the couch, and his assistant's like, I understand this can be a boring job, but this is just like a new level. Like, you don't look good. Why don't you go take the day? So he goes back. He's taking the day off, and the fucking fucked up looking woman appears there, and she starts shitting on his house, like, not very nice place. And then she just like turns into some pretty woman and then disappears.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I got left with it with my divorce. And then yeah, she turns into like she turns pretty.
Yeah. She's not battered and broken. She turns all pretty and then just kind of like disappears.
Yeah.
And Paul like falls asleep. Then we're back to like Sal and Gino situation. And they're just like getting the whole runaround of like the family. They think that their car is being worked on. You could tell this is a total setup. At one point, there's a kangaroo standing out there because they're in the Outback.
Yeah.
And fucking Bab points it out, and he tells Bronto, like, he does like some kind of fucking call, and Bronto with some like, I guess like a rock, just kills the fucking kangaroo because he's got like a dead shot.
Yeah, he's good.
And kills it. They run right over to it, and Bab cuts out the adrenal gland, and him and Bronto start eating it. And like Sal and Gino are just looking at them too, like, what the fuck?
They're like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, that's the adrenal gland. You're fucking crazy. And then fucking Bab and Bronto start fucking eating it, and then they go fucking crazy, and then they fucking run away, and Sal and Gino run after them, and then they hop in this fucking truck that's like around like this fucking broken tree, and they're just like doing donuts and shit, and going crazy.
They're having a real fun time. They're like
having a fun time,
embracing the Outback life. But then Sal sees the one sister just chilling, looking bored, so he wants to go try to spit some game, and she's like, let's go over to this shed. So, they're over there. They're having a little fucking private time, making out, this and that. And meanwhile, Gino goes with Bab into the house. But there's like a trap door on the side. It's so funny how they enter. And it looks like a fucking hoarder's delight. There's all this shit all over the place and on the wall. And as Bab's giving a tour, Gino sees this picture. And it looks like Pud, who is the dad of the family. And he's in like some lab coat, and he's with someone. he's like, hey, you know, is this your old man? Like, he looks like he's seen better days. And Bab's like, oh yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, is he in a hospital? He's working at a hospital.
Yeah, he's
Like,
you know
I don't
asking all these
know.
questions. He's like, oh, I don't really know about that. So then we go back to the shed, and the fucking the sister's like, you want a love bite to Sal? And he's like, yeah, yeah. She starts biting the fucking shit. She literally is taking chunks out of him, and he's screaming. And Gino can't hear because he's with Bab in the house, so he completely doesn't hear anything that's going on. Except at one point, he does hear some screaming.
Yeah, it was muffled, and then Bab ends up running out, and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" He's like, "Oh, it's a cock or something." He's like, "I'll be right back."
It's funny he says that because like fucking the sister's bashing fucking Sal's cock and balls like with some fucking pole, crushing him after taking chunks out of him.
Yeah, and she's like covered in fucking blood. So, but then I like this scene. I thought it was pretty funny. So Gino is still in the fucking hallway, and he's just like looking around. And you glossed over the fucking Gene Simmons mask.
I know,
next
I
to
had
the-
it in my notes too. There was just so much
Yeah.
going on in that scene, but there's a
Yeah.
shot next to the picture of Pud and his assistant, and there's a sick Gene Simmons mask on the wall.
So while fucking Gino's looking around, we hear a noise from one other fucking room, and then he goes down through this curtain, and on the fucking television is fucking porno. You see like these two fucking people going at it,
And
he
you see
kinda-
everything.
Yeah, you see everything. And he gets like fixed on it for a second, and he's about to go fucking sit down. And before he sits down, we see that there's an old woman just sitting in the fucking chair, and he gets up and runs away.
Yep.
And yeah, and
she's just chilling there watching the porn.
yeah, that might be like Pud's woman or something.
Probably.
I
So
don't
he's
know.
like, yo, fuck this. So he takes off, right? And that's when he starts to realize, oh my God, like these fucking people are crazy.
Yeah,
And then he's like,
Pud's fucking bitching out. I think her name's Slab is his daughter. He's
Yeah.
bitching her out because she just fucking killed Sal. So he's like, fuck. He's like, now we got to get the other one. So
Yeah.
he hears that and he's like, shit, I got to get the fuck out of here.
But it's so funny because like Pud like he like hits her, but as he does, he's like, didn't I tell you to keep it in the family?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so funny. And then like also Bab with again maybe it's an Australian insult, but he's like, that dead bitch. Just fucking some of the like the phrases that are said, they gotta be like Australian like insults and lingo, but it's so funny. So fucking Gino sees the truck and he's like, okay, I'm gonna fucking take the truck and like dip. So he's like on his way running, and then like Bronto tries to like ambush him. He punches Bronto, hops over the fence, gets in the truck, thinks he's gonna take off with it. And Pud's just like, yeah, take off with my truck, huh?
He's like, you ain't going anywhere in my truck.
But the truck is just doing donuts.
Yeah, it only turns one way. It only fucking turns
one
right.
And it's so funny because like as they're approaching the truck, like they all just surround.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of like Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
You know, just the way they walk and they're just moving on in. Just kind of like on
closing in on them.
Yeah, that's exactly what that reminded me of. But they're like pretty much like, you're going nowhere, bud. So that's the end of them too.
Yep. It's the end of Sal and Gino. I like them a lot.
They're a bunch of fucking.
But one thing that I want to say though is early on when fucking Gino is talking with Pud, Pud's asking him some questions, and he's like, "Oh, so where are you from?" And he tells him, he's like, "Yeah, you know, I'm from like a small neighborhood in Melbourne or whatever." And then Pud kind of like gets a look on him. He's like, "You got a lot of family?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Italian." And then he starts to tell him, he's like, "Yeah, well, Italians have a lot of family and stuff like that." But Pud's an interesting character.
Yeah,
let's just say that.
You're right. He he's like, huh, that area, huh?
Yeah,
Homesville, huh?
Homesville. Yeah, he knows the area. Something's going on. Pud knows.
From there, after Gino and Sal are no more, the detective and the partner show up to Vimuville, and they start to, asking Shan questions, and she gives them a tour of the facility, just because he found on the body the pill bottle of the Vimuville vitamins.
Yep. while the two detectives are walking around the wellness facility, they're sitting down with Shan, and they're like questioning and asking, "Oh, do you know this guy Ryan? Does he work here? Has he come to the facility?" And she's like, "No, I've never heard of the name before. I've never heard of him." And then she asks, "Well, like, well, what happened to him?" He's like, "Well, he's dead." And she's like, this kind of like piques her interest a little bit too. She's like, "Well, how did he die?" And then he tells him, "Well, he fucking fucking crashed his car, and he killed himself or something like that." But she wanted to know if he died of any of the side effects.
Yeah. She, of course, now she's like, oh shit.
There's some eyes. There's some eyes.
Yeah, she's got some eyes on her.
Once the detectives and shit are fucking poking their nose around, man, you should be a little, cautious.
And he goes back. The detective, he goes back to the coroner's place, and they're going over the autopsy, and they're like, this man was a completely healthy man, but there's like some corrosive stuff in his stomach.
Yeah, eating him alive.
And something's been eating at him from the inside, but it just doesn't make sense because he, like, all the other tests just prove that he's like a very healthy, well-fit man. So there's more questions than answers.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has got to be driving fucking the head detective nuts, man.
Also on the body, the detective sees the address written on the body's arm, and it's of Paul's address.
9 Pebble Court, was it?
Yep. So we go back to Paul's house, and he's dreaming again and tripping of that woman. And he's got a dream where she's on top of him, and she's going on about how she likes to collect the ribs of the men she fucks, and she needs 12 ribs, and he's her 12th victim. So she starts like massaging out his rib cage. Very weird sequence, but it's all just a hallucinogenic dream.
Yeah, she also says something along the lines of how she is a product of like his deepest fear. But I thought that kind of maybe was the reason why she was like all beat up and shit at first.
Or maybe Paul was abusive.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
Yeah.
man. I thought it, like, when she had said that, I thought like maybe like that was his wife, after, you know what I'm saying? But then it's like he didn't really act like he recognized her, which then kind of threw that out the window for me. But maybe he wasn't an abusive husband, and that was the cause of his divorce.
So now we're introduced to another family in the neighborhood, and this is Brian and Cheryl. They're a young couple. Cheryl is with child. She's due very soon. She's been seeing this doctor, Dr. Carrera, and she's going over about some dreams and feelings she's been having. And it turns out these are side effects of the experimental drugs. And it's funny because Dr. Carrera says, well, babies are just parasites until they're born. And that comment really raises a flag there. So then Dr. Carrera gets on the phone, and we find out it's Shan from Vimuville, and he said, look, I want you to lower the doses on Cheryl. She's getting some side effects that she's starting to become aware of.
Yeah, her body's overreacting to it.
Yeah. So after the phone call ends, Dr. Carrera opens up his desk drawer and pulls out a picture, and it is the same picture that Gino pointed out in Pud's home of Pud in his like younger years. So it turns out the other man in the photo, it's Dr. Carrera.
Yep, it's Dr.
So it's just
Carrera.
like, what are their connections?
Yeah, and now that I think about it, when Gino is talking with Bronto, he like says something about like, yeah, like my dad used to work in a germ factory or something like that.
He was a chemist, though. We do establish that Pud and Dr. Carrera, they were lab assistants and chemists, chemical science, whatever, working on something. So we go back to Cheryl's house, and she's feeling all these effects. She like starts feeling sick, and literally out of her, she like gets down. She's like squatting. You almost think she's about to give birth, right? And out of her womb comes this like fucking, it looks like a xenomorph face hugger.
It's her placenta.
It just drops out.
And then scurries away.
So she calls fucking Dr. Carrera, like, hey, you got to come here. Like, this just happened.
Is it possible for a placenta to drop out of my body like 2 months before birth. And like he's just like thinking about it, and he's like, fuck. He's like, her body really is overreacting to this. And she's like, can you please come here? Can you please come? And he's like, yes, I will be right there. So then he fucking decides that he's going to go over there. But before he does, he calls her husband, Brian, and tells him, oh, there's nothing to worry about. Everything is fine, but I'm going to need you to leave work to come home and see Cheryl and myself.
So Brian gets there, and he walks in on Cheryl on her bed, like trying to cut something out of her stomach.
Yeah, she got like a dagger, bro.
Yeah,
She's ready to
like,
stab herself.
What the fuck? You're about to kill our kid. And then boom, out pops the fucking face-hugging looking parasite.
Great
right
fucking scene, dude. Great scene. 100% inspired by the fucking face hugger and Alien. The fucking
100%.
The fucking
know
placenta wraps around his fucking face, and it's awesome.
But you know what other reference I feel like I got, or this reminds me of? So after the parasite pops out of Cheryl, her body bursts open. Tell me it does not look like the overcooked turkey from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The way her body opens up.
No, okay, yes. Now that I think about
that
it,
shit
yeah,
opens up slow and steamy.
When Clark Griswold goes to cut it, and then it just kind of like folds open.
Yes.
I thought of that, but then I also thought about the Thing when he goes to use the defib, and the fucking stomach opens.
Yeah.
In the Thing.
Yeah, and then it's the mouth, and yeah.
I thought it was similar
more
to
of
that.
National Lampoon's.
I like where our
Christmas
fucking
turkey.
minds went totally different ends of the fucking spectrum.
That's a great fucking scene, though.
So yeah, so Cheryl ends up yes, it is. I'll tell you that. So Cheryl ends up dying, and then the fucking placenta parasite ends up going down Brian's fucking throat, and then he ends up like passing out. So all this shit has fucking transpired, and then Dr. Carrera ends up coming into the house, and he's like, fuck. So calls the police, and then he fucking frames Brian for the murder of Cheryl. And then the fucking police detective is back yet again to Pebble Court, and he's fucking, questioning the doctor. Not really questioning him, but he's just kind of like, talking to him. You know what I mean? He's a doctor. He respects him. And then he starts like asking him questions about like, do you know of like any drugs that have like side effects as far as like hallucinations or glandular or something that could, like fuck up her pregnancy or anything like that. And Dr. Carrera knows that these detectives are kind of getting on the case.
Something.
They're on to something, but obviously he fucking plays stupid.
But he also, something catches his eye, which causes him to go over to Paul's house, because right before Cheryl has all this shit happen to her, she sees Paul at one point in the window, and he's like sliming out the mouth and shit. It's only for a brief second. Now, do we know if that was a hallucination or if that was legit?
Good point.
Paul having those effects. So Dr. Carrera makes his way over to Paul's house, and he sees someone standing there with the back facing towards him.
Yeah, and as he's coming in, he's got the needle, and he's like being all quiet, and he's like drawing it out. Yeah, and then you see a guy like just standing in the doorway with his back, and then he fucking turns around, and it's fucking Paul, and he's just like fully fucking like his fucking face is like separated, and his eyes are all fucking bulged out.
Oh,
it's a really good
fucking insane. It looks so dope, man.
Yeah,
it looks like something bursted right out of his mouth.
Yeah, he was just a fucking mindless mutant at this point. But he grabs Dr. Carrera by the head, and he starts squeezing him, and then Dr. Carrera fucking injects his hand with, I call it the serum. He injects his hand with the serum.
And then it cuts to our family, where it's the husband, the wife, and the two kids, and they're at the Vimuville health facility for a nice holiday family trip. And they're given their health programs and a tour, and they're just like, oh, look at all this amazing food, this and that.
The place looks great. Yeah. So what I want to say about that though is before the whole Cheryl incident, that's when they end up leaving to go. And she's like, "Oh, where are you going?" And he's like, "A super secret event." And he's like, "And it's gonna change our lives forever." The one little kid with the fucking bucket hat, might I add. I forgot to mention that. Good shit. Are you wearing your idle hands?
Yeah, I'm wearing Tapes from the Crypt, Idle Hands bucket hat. We've got this little shithead kid who's a rollerblader straight out of the 90s.
Oh,
And
dude. Yeah, it's awesome.
I had to rock my bucket hat the same way.
I think his name's
in honor
Brandon.
of this episode, man.
Yeah, good call, man. Yeah, I think his name's Brandon, but yeah, he's the first one to start digging into the food because there's like burgers and chips and desserts and ice cream and all this fucking shit. And I mean, it's something that you wouldn't necessarily expect to find at a wellness facility, but then you ultimately find out that all that food, apparently just like all the food has like all the same nutritional value. So whether it be like a fucking salad is like the same as a fucking piece of cake or something like that. So it's just something to appeal to, you know, the health craze.
So then we go back and we're at Paul's house and his body's been discovered, but also Paul is holding an ear, and next to the ear, the detective's assistant finds a syringe or a vial with Dr. Carrera's name on it.
Ooh, it's like a smoking gun right there.
Mm-hmm. So they make their way over to Dr. Carrera's office, who he is now fast tracking with a missing ear on his way to, we assume, Vimuville. That's when Shan calls
Dr. Carrera's office
and leaves a message that she got all of the family's urine results, and he's going to be happy with these results. Now, again, the detective and the assistant are there and they hear all this.
And she exposes everything at that point, and they fucking know. They're like, we got it now. So they're like,
we're back at
it.
the health club now.
Yep.
The family's working on their health programs. The son is like, fuck this. This is boring. I brought my blades. I bought a fucking tent to camp out. And it's funny because the sister tells him to fuck off, and he's like, I am gonna go fuck off. I got a tent and there's a half pipe on the front property.
Yeah.
Which is so random, but I love it.
At a health spa.
So we've got Brandon, right? He's fucking got his blades on, and he drops in on the half pipe. And he's out here and he's pulling tricks like fucking Auto Rocket from Rocket Power, man.
Yeah.
And he's just he's doing all these tricks, but then he goes for a backflip.
Yeah, he beefs, dude. Midair.
And he fucking bails, dude. And he comes crashing down on his face. And it's just splat. And we don't see anything yet, but like the mom's concerned. She's like, where's Brendan? And the dad's like, oh, I saw him, sneaking a tent. And so he's probably camping out in the back.
Yeah, and it's nighttime by now too. So Brendan's been gone for hours,
and that's where he transitioned. And Brendan's barely alive, and his face, the gore effects, he's just fucked, dude.
Yeah, his head's like almost split open, dude, from the fucking impact.
He's just left there for dead, and it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I like that scene. It was one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite scenes.
That is my favorite scene of the movie.
I like that kid. I liked him, I should say. He was cool. He was a little asshole.
As someone that grew up skateboarding, we ain't getting down with fruit booters, as we used to call them. You remember that term? Like skaters and rollerbladers did not get along, man.
Yeah, they called them fruit boots.
Fruit booters, yeah.
Speaking of, dude, I remember one time when I was fucking skateboarding, there was like this one real big gap that we used to fucking try to hit. We used to try to hit because we couldn't fucking hit it. It was behind this bank, dude, near my house. So one day, side tangent. One day we're fucking skating it, and these two guys come up and they're on fucking rollerblades, and they're like, "Yo, do you guys know like any sick places to fucking skate?" So we didn't tell them like any of the good spots. We're like, "Nah, like this is like really the only good spot," and we were just trying to hit this fucking gap for a while. But good luck. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna try to fucking do it. So we go about our day and we're fucking skating, dude. And I'd say probably like 2 hours later, bro, we're like on our way backtracking to go back home, bro, and he's fucking sitting on the fucking grass, bro, and when he looks up, dude, his face is fucking covered in fucking road rash and shit because he went to go fucking hit it and he didn't stick the landing, bro, so he was all fucking cut up.
witnessed the after effect of a Scarred moment? You remember the
Dude.
show Scarred?
100%.
Dude, that
100%.
show made me want to quit skateboarding sometimes.
Well, that show made me not want to hit handrails.
Oh yeah,
When
100%.
the dude splits his
Well,
fucking
listen,
nut.
I was nowhere near good enough to hit handrails. I mean, the biggest that I ever did was the Dollar General 4-stair in Ellenville. Those that skated in Ellenville knew about the DG4. Like, I was more of like skated boxes, curbs, ledges and loading docks. Like that was
Dude.
like my thing.
I mean, I was hitting stairs, dude, and I could definitely hit a handrail, but I would always bail on the handrails, dude, just because it's like, especially board slides on the fucking handrail, dude.
Yeah.
Sliding out from fucking right under you, dude. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
trust me, fucking doing fucking front side, not even backside. I was just naturally would do front side boards on even those on like a flat bar, dude. And like I've only hit it on the flat bar a couple of times because that shit was.
I miss it. We should get back into it. We should get back into skating.
Got to drop some weight, man. It's fucking hard, but yeah. No, I miss skating, dude.
So anyways, let's stop fucking
back to it. Yeah.
Let's stop geeking out about fucking skateboard. We can talk about this later. Let's get this over with because
let's get back to it.
The movie's kind of getting this is kind of like the climax of the fucking movie now.
So after we see Brandon's battered and broken body, like, the rest of the family are continuing on with their fitness plans. But the dad, he's getting like real sick in the bathroom. He's like sneezing up some like green, slimy shit, which is actually moving around, but he doesn't even realize.
Yeah.
But then we see like the warehouse, being stockpiled, ready to ship out all these vitamins. And it's so funny.
Big motherfucker.
We've got these two gassed up early 90s bodybuilders, right?
Yeah, stinger tees.
Clearly on the fucking gas, dude. Right? And they're moving equipment, and Shen gives them the okay to just like ship it.
Yeah, they're trying to move this shit. They got like a big company that's like buying all the fucking pharmaceuticals from them. And so she's trying to move this shit and getting it going.
And she's got her own little assistant who's a very beautiful woman. And she kind of, bounces around between the one Jack dude, Braun, I think his name is, or some shit.
One of them's named Bo.
Yeah, Bo. And so, anyways, he wants to do it. And she's like, I haven't even had breakfast yet.
Go take a cold shower.
So he's like watching some porno, and you see his dick rising. And then we get the POV of something going through his dick, and pop! Parasite comes right out his dick and explodes it. Right?
Dude, yeah. I've never seen that before. Have you ever seen a dick exploding scene in a movie?
No, not like that, man.
Never.
I've seen plenty
I've never
of
seen it.
Dick mutilation, but like not exploding like that.
No, that was so funny.
So then the very attractive looking assistant, she sees the other one, and you could tell this brother's gassed because his voice is super high pitched.
Yeah,
and those that are
squeaky.
On the gas, usually have more of a high pitched voice.
Yeah.
So, they're giving each other the looks and shit. They go off later to fuck around. But beforehand, he wants some little enhancement. So he goes into the safe, pops some fucking vitamins.
Yeah, he asks Shan for him too before, and she's like, no, you have like the V1s, and his squeaky voice, he's like, oh, the V1s? He's like, those are piss weak. We need like the V2s. And she's like, no, well, next time.
He gets him anyways right before he's about to have sex, and he pops him, and then him and the assistant are having sex, and he like fucking goes full roid rage and chokes her to death. And while he's doing that, like the parasite explodes through his body, like mid-climax.
Yeah, and he just dies.
Yeah, he just dies.
He just dies on top of her. And then it's a shot of his hand rolling off the bed, and it's got like her hair in his fucking hand. But a lot actually happens at the fucking wellness facility.
Yeah.
A lot of good scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then after that, Pud finds a picture that Gino has, the same exact picture that he shows Sal in the beginning of the movie with Gino and Sean. Pud puts it all together now, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna make a phone call. So he calls Dr. Carrera, and Dr. Carrera, I believe, is on his way to the wellness facility because shit is hitting the fucking fan. So when he's on the phone with Pud, Pud refers to him as crackers, right? So Pud tells him, yeah, I might have something that you want. And we find out that Pud and Dr. Carrera have a really long back history, that they used to work for the army together, that they worked in the chemical section in the army, and they specialized in germ warfare. So Carrera fucking, makes a fucking detour, and then he goes to Pud's house. When Carrera gets there, he's got his head's all fucking bandaged up because Brian ripped his fucking ear off. So Pud is sitting and he's fucking waiting for him, and they have like their little conversation back and forth, just kind of like becoming acquainted with each other again. Carrera is just pretty much like, "What do you have that I need?" And then he does the whole suey shit again, and then fucking a rock comes
Pronto fucking throws,
rock comes out of nowhere, and then like this fucking bottle on top of this jug ends up flipping, and there's like this little fucking vial of like this red fucking serum or some shit. And then Pud proceeds to tell him that this is the missing additive, and without this, it's probably the reason why your experiments are all going wrong. So fucking Pud sabotaged the whole fucking thing very early on.
Which also, we get that motive too, because Pud did all of this experimentation on himself.
Yes.
Which caused him to have these deformities and supersonic hearing. Well, not supersonic, but very good hearing. And, the reason why, also inbreeding, but the reason why his family looks like the way that they do.
Yeah, is because of him fucking testing on himself.
And he even said, at least I had the courage to test on myself instead of others. He throws that in Carrera's face.
Yeah, because like initially, like the whole fucking reason behind all of these vitamins and all this stuff was that it was supposed to be cognitive enhancing. Carrera's motive for all of this is he wants to create the perfect fucking human being, but chemically. Where they ended up falling out in their working relationship was that Carrera wanted to stay more by the book and test the proper way before testing on people, but Pud wanted to start testing on people, stop testing on animals and shit, and then they fucking ended up splitting, and then fucking Pud ended up testing on himself, dude. Now look at him. Inbred family, all fucking deformed and all this shit.
So now Carrera is on his way to Vimuville. And in the process of that, the dad, what was his name?
Mr. Noble.
Mr. Noble is having some serious fucking side effects in the bathroom, and it's just the mucus, the green, the slime, it's just getting everywhere, to the point where he slips on his own fucking mucus, cracks his head open, and this is where we get the actual body melt, because his wife goes in like, "Oh, you all right?" This and that. She goes in and he's just all melty and shit.
Yep. Yeah, he's just like, it's all like foamy, just like in and out of his fucking mouth and in his nose. Yeah. And then his wife starts fucking freaking out. Prior to this, the woman Shan, she starts having fucking side effects.
Yeah.
And then this is like, she starts kind of like, her vision starts going in and out and everything. And that's when I started kind of like, on the second view, I'm like, I think he juiced her up, because she juiced Ryan up heavy. So that's why the effects took place so quickly. This probably took place in like 2-3 days, 4 days max or something like that.
Yeah.
So now she's having the effects. But now we're like switching back and forth between that. So Mrs. Noble's freaking out. The daughter is freaking out. They don't even give a fuck where this kid Brandon is. Their kid,
No.
like, you know what I mean? They're just going about their day.
He's just out dead on the half pipe.
Yeah, just going about their fucking day. So in panic, the mom and the daughter, they go and they find Shan, and they're like, something's wrong, like, you need to help us. And similar to the way that fucking that guy Brian was, and she's standing with her back, and then she turns around and it's the cover of the fucking Vinegar Syndrome, and Yep.
We get the face. There's probably a glare. There we go.
There she goes.
There
Yep.
we go. And we get
sh-
this nice melty face that I'm holding up to the camera.
Yep. And she's just fucking melting, and she grabs her head, and then she just has like a quick fucking monologue where she like recites like the tagline for the wellness facility. Like, yeah, and then the fucking mom and sister, or the mom and daughter, end up fucking freaking out, and they run out of the fucking joint.
So at the same time, Dr. Carrera has just pulled in. He sees them freaking out. He starts shooting at them. And then also we got the fucking helicopter with the detective and the assistant. So they're all fucking.
When he's fucking running all crazy in the fucking parking lot and the helicopter's pulling up, the young detective, he's like, yeah, I think that this is the place.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, right as they're about to question the doctor, you know, the doctor sees like what has happened and like all the mistakes, and like Shan's face, it's all melted and shit. And then again, either before or after, it bounces back to the mother and daughter.
Before he walks in, yeah. So the mother and the daughter haul ass out of there, and then they go to like the nearest fucking doctor. So they end up running in there, and they're like, "No, we need to see a doctor. We need to see a doctor." And she fucking tells them like, "Oh yeah, no, you got to sit down and wait to be seated." And then the doctor comes out because he hears all the commotion. And oh well, what's going on? So the daughter proceeds to tell him about where they are. They're over at Vimuville, and he's like, "Oh, Vimuville." He's like, "That's built on an old chemical dump." Makes perfect fucking sense, right?
Yeah, and it's also been closed for 20 years and failed by the health department.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And then the mom starts to have some kind of side effects, and she starts putting her tongue out, but the tongue just starts growing and growing and growing and growing, dude. So she gets like this wicked fucking elongated fucking tongue, and I guess it like must suffocate her or something like that, because then she just ends up fucking dying. And it's just like some weird, it just like similar to like everything else, dude, just like fucking gross and slimy and foamy and shit.
I had in my notes that like the mom's tongue turns into Jesse's tongue from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 when he's in the pool room.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. I like that that reference to that. But then we end up back at the wellness facility, and Dr. Carrera is there, and he's, you know, looking over Shan's body, and then he has like his mad doctor monologue, and then now he's cornered by the two detectives. And the jig is up now, man. So Dr. Carrera ends up, you know, pretty much telling his entire motive about how like he had the perfect plan for creating the perfect human. And he fucking says something along the lines of like, without me, like you're starting from zero. And then he like shoots his hand to show that it like doesn't affect him. And then yeah, he fucking ultimately, you know, puts a gun up to his head and fucking kills himself. And then that's the end of Dr. Carrera. Then we go to, you know, like the CBI or the FBI. I don't know.
Yeah, the CBI. That's what they call it over there.
Yeah. So they're just, they shut the whole fucking shit down. They're collecting all the pharmaceuticals and shit for evidence and stuff.
It's just chaos, because then when they get back to like the CBI office, like there's green slime everywhere. I think there's like 2 people that have been infected with the parasite.
Brian's there, the fucking husband that was.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, there we go. It's Brian. I totally.
Yeah.
So he looks so fucked up.
Yeah, you forgot
that
about
I totally
him.
forgot. I completely forgot about him, dude.
I did too.
That's right.
Initially.
They have him in for questioning and everything.
Yeah, because Carrera framed his ass. So doctor briefs the main detective on his way in, and he's like, "Look, he's like, we got him cornered, and he's in your office." He's like, "In my fucking office."
Yeah.
And then there's like this slime that just fucking
hits everywhere.
That hits on the fucking on the window, and this guy like ducks for cover, and it's like the whole fucking police precinct are like backed in this fucking corner, and they're looking at that dude Brian who's in the fucking who's in the office, and he ain't looking so hot.
Nah, his face is like pulsating and shit, and he's just ready to pop.
Dude,
which he
go on, sorry.
Which he finally does, like the parasite like pops out of him.
It pops out of him, but I will say that I thought it was leading up to a head explosion. I feel like it was a missed opportunity.
Very missed. Brother, I completely agree. A very missed opportunity. We
But
should have had one final head explosion or melt.
fucking head explode, bro, right? Have him like scream and head explode, and then all of a sudden we could cut to the fucking the body melt theme song
Yeah.
and roll the fucking credits. Like that would have been a way to fucking end it, dude.
Yeah.
But then, after that, the fucking the detective goes in and they start examining the body, and the coroner that we meet in the beginning comes in,
Mhm.
and he starts talking about like he's like, wow, he's like, isn't this fucking great? He's like I love this job, but he's being like dead serious. He's like happy, and he's like, we have to start writing on the death certificates. And then the detective's like, what? And he's like, death by hypernatural causes. He's like, isn't that great?
Yeah. He's all thrilled by this.
Yeah.
So then, after all this chaos, we then end with the detective and his assistant going back to the petrol station from the beginning. And the detective's assistant says, hey, can you grab me an aspirin? I'm not feeling good. So the detective walks in and he sees the petrol station worker. He's like, oh, you guys got that guy, this and that.
He's like, yeah, he took himself out.
Yeah. And just as he goes for the aspirin, he passes by a display of the Vimuville vitamins available to purchase. So it's already hit the stores. Cue the theme, movie ends. You know what happens next.
Yep. Great fucking ending, dude. I love it.
And that's Body Melt.
That's Body Melt for you. Fucking great fucking movie, dude. Before we go on, all right, because we'll talk about final thoughts and stuff like that. I thought this was like really funny. So, do you want to hear the side effects of Vimuville dietary supplements?
Sure.
So, Vimuville dietary supplements. Some side effects of Vimuville may include hallucinations, mutations, liquefying flesh, elongated tongues, exploding stomachs, exploding penises, exploding heads, monstrous births, tentacles growing out of your face, living mucus, sentient placentas, and death.
Literally all of the side effects that happen.
Yeah, fucking great, man. So
It would have been cool if they shot like, how like most medicine commercials, it shows people being happy, playing in a park, in a field, and then it's telling you all these deadly side effects as everyone's smiling. They should have shot a commercial like that for this.
And they say it like really fucking fast at the end.
Yeah, really
too.
fast and casual, like no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
You talk about like antidepressants, and it's like some side effects may include thoughts of suicide, and you're like, yo, like this is supposed to fucking help me.
Meanwhile, some's throwing a frisbee in a park as this.
Yeah, exactly. A dog jumps up and grabs it, and you're like, what is this dog on antidepressants too? But fuck, I was gonna fucking say something. Totally lost my train of thought. It wasn't important. But yeah, dude. So funny thing about this movie is the director talks about it, and he's like, yeah, this movie was not intended to like look cinematic. He's like, I really wanted it to look like a bad TV ad. And I think like he does that, dude, because like even in the beginning, like
it opens
TV
with an ad.
Yeah. But the way that it's shot, it just kind of like has that fucking feel to it. But I like your idea with the fucking the disclaimer at the end.
Yeah. Well, now that you had shed light though on this intending to be an anthology, it makes so much sense as to why. And this is like my one initial complaint is how much it bounces back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
But you don't get lost in it, and that's why I feel like the writing was very good.
No, the writing was good, but if the writing wasn't good, you could easily get a little lost.
Yeah, but it was just like a very cohesive story, even after bouncing between 4 different families and shit. That's like one of my main takeaways from this was just how fucking very well it was written.
All right, brother, give me your final thoughts and rating on this one.
All right, man. So my final thoughts on this, dude, are all positive, dude. I absolutely love this movie. It's fun, funny fucking dialogue. I've said it a million times throughout, dude. It's just like it's very fucking well written. I love the music. The acting's all fucking really good too. Apparently, like all the actors are like from Australian soap operas and shit like that. Yeah, but they all fucking killed it, man. Body Melt's fucking awesome, dude. I want everybody to watch this movie. That's my fucking final thoughts on it, dude. Just fucking great movie. I love it. I give Body Melt an 8.5 out of 10.
Ooh, all right.
I loved
Yeah,
it, dude.
you really love this one, man.
Dude, yeah, hell yeah. It's just like it wasn't like a task having to watch it multiple times. It's just like super fucking enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was like a bit of an introduction into, the collecting world, for me, thanks to you as well. So it holds a special place in my heart. So
Right.
if anybody also listening wants to sell me the slip,
Hit
let me
him up.
know. Hit me up. So what are your thoughts? What's your score?
Yeah, I think my thoughts are kind of the same. This is a funny one. It's very quirky, but the effects are great. It's nasty, it's slimy, it's gooey. Some of the Australian terms and mannerisms, they're really funny.
Yeah, they make you pop, right?
Yeah,
they're,
they just really kind of pop out. Like,
because they're in a sense out of pocket for us, so we think it's fucking funnier. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah. But just understanding again more now that this was supposed to be an anthology, it just kind of gives me a new perspective, And yeah, I mean, this was one of my early Vinegar Syndrome purchases. And like I had mentioned before, I always have a fun time watching this. And when I watched it Friday, it was 100 degrees that day. So I was feeling really melty. So I was like, yeah, it's a good time to throw on Body Melt. And as far as my score, I'm coming in with a 7.7.
7.7.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I can get behind that. I fucking think maybe like last year or so, I think you had mentioned, you were like, yeah, no, this is like a summer movie for me, because of the heat and shit. And then I don't even think we necessarily had a movie planned after Cruel Jaws. Like we knew we wanted to do Cruel Jaws, but then I think at VHS Fest is when we fucking VHS Fest, both of us. I think at VHS Fest is when we fucking decided we were going to do Body Melt because it was so fucking hot.
Yeah. Let you know when you're feeling melty, you're just like, let's talk melt movies.
Yeah.
And I won't say this is my all-time favorite melt movie.
Only two people
but,
melt.
Yeah. It could have used more melting, but it's in the title. It's on the cover. And yeah, man, like I said, this is a fun one. And I highly recommend anyone checking out if you want to see some like quirky fucking Australian humor with great gooey and slimy gore effects and a well-written plot. Definitely check out Body Melt.
Check out Body Melt. But I mean, dude, that's all that I have to say about it, man. I don't know if you fucking got any fucking final thoughts, anything to close with.
Nah, man, that's my final thoughts on Body Melt. I think this pretty much wraps up our episode and our discussion on Body Melt.
Okay.
So
cool.
This has been episode 21. And if you like what you've been hearing, watching, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We are on Instagram at Dead With My Friends Podcast. We are also on Anchor FM, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Please leave us a 5-star rating and review. It really helps the show grow. And yeah, Nick, we're coming up on year 1 of the show.
Dude, I can't wait. I'm super excited for it. We got to plan something fun, bro.
Yeah,
September,
we definitely
man. So
by the time this drops, we'll be near in September, and yeah, that's year 1 for us.
Yeah, so we'll have some fun shit. We'll have some fun shit going for the 1 year for sure. We'll have to do like a very special episode. Who knows? Maybe we won't cover a movie. Maybe we'll just have a discussion episode. Maybe like similar to, the way
just
that
like
we did it. We did
1 year wrap up.
Yeah. Or we'll cover a movie. Who the fuck knows?
We'll see.
But
we'll take it
man,
as it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes, man. Nothing planned out yet, but I mean, super cool, man. 1 year. Happy to be doing this with you, dude.
Hell yeah, brother. I mean, this first year has been fun, and
yeah. A lot's happened, man.
We've covered some cool movies, but we'll talk more and reflect more on our first year on that episode.
Yeah.
Until then, You've been listening to Dead with My Friends podcast. I'm Steve,
I'm Nick.
and we'll catch you later.
Peace.